No one really knows if there is extraterrestrial life outside of our own planet. Many believe there is something out there, and experts are constantly looking for answers to prove this theory. Some people have encountered alien life on our own planet. However, many people are skeptical of their stories. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 mysteries surrounding UFOs and USOs. USO sightings. While UFO sightings become increasingly common, there's also been a sharp increase in reports of USOs, unidentified submerged objects. When former United States Navy Commander David Fravor appeared as a guest star on the Joe Rogan Experience, he opened up about an encounter that a fellow pilot had while on board a submarine. Fravor claimed his acquaintance was a pilot of an MH-53E Sea Dragon, stationed at the Roosevelt Roads Naval Station, Puerto Rico. There were 2 occasions when he claimed to have seen strange underwater objects. During the first sighting, the pilot was out recovering an unmanned drone with his team when he claimed he saw a large and circular mass below the surface. He was sure it wasn't a submarine. In his second sighting, he claimed to have seen a practice torpedo get pulled into the abyss of the ocean in the presence of a similar USO. The torpedo was never seen again. USOs are usually passed off as common objects, which are distorted below the surface, but trained Navy personnel are more familiar with the ocean, so when military officials claim to have witnessed a USO or UFO sighting, it automatically becomes more credible. Reports of USOs go back years, with some even being detected by nuclear submarines rigged with the most sensitive listening technology in the world. On the 19th of April 1957, crew members aboard a Japanese fishing boat, Kitsukawa Maru, witnessed 2 metallic silvery objects descending from the sky into the ocean. The crew estimated the size of the crafts to be around 10 meters in length, and without any kind of wings. In 2007, an eyewitness off the coast of Half Moon Bay, California, claimed she had observed 3 UFOs while traveling on the cruise ship Dawn Princess, renamed in 2017 as Pacific Explorer. The witness claimed 3 objects came into view, all uniform with each other, evenly spaced in a line, parallel to the ship's hull and hovering just above the water's surface. Nearly spherical objects glowing in the sky appeared to stay in one place while the ship moved past them. They were hovering but didn't disturb the water below them. Just as they went out of sight, the far left object splashed and disappeared into the water. Hudson Valley UFO sightings. New York's Hudson River Valley has been a UFO hotspot for years, with countless reports of strange phenomena in the area. Thousands of residents between 1983 and 1986 claimed they had witnessed a large metallic object hovering in the sky. Dennis Sant had worked for the local government for 17 years. On March 17, 1983, while Dennis was at home in Brewster, New York, he spotted something in the sky, describing it as an exceptionally large object. The structure was dark grey, metallic, and was almost silent. The lights were bright as they stood out in the sky, looking like a city of lights. It just paused in the sky. As the object started to move, Dennis Sant expressed a feeling of fright. The thought of how this is moving and who is moving it. A thought of an encounter with something extraterrestrial. Dennis wasn't the only one witnessing such an extraordinary event, however. Just a few miles away on Interstate 84, traffic came to a standstill as commuters left their vehicles in order to catch a glimpse of the same mystery craft. The phenomena that had occurred that night would return after a week had passed. Officer Andy Sadoff of the Newcastle Police was on routine patrol when he also claimed to have witnessed the craft. He stated, "As I set up doing some routine checks looking for speeding cars, I looked up to the sky and saw a series of lights. At first it looked like a plane, quite far away. However, it was very large. The lights were made up of white and green. It approached my vehicle and paused in its tracks and just hovered above." He described a feeling of amazement and awe. Unknowing of the object, but knowing this wasn't something of Earth. With no noise, no sound, no engine, this object was completely silent. It was triangular in shape and was as large as a football field. At the same time Officer Andy Sandoff was looking up at the UFO, another eyewitness report came in. Ed Burns, a computer engineer, was on his way home, commuting along the Taconic Parkway around 10 miles north of Andy Sandoff's location. Ed pulled off the road and joined a group of around 20 other motorists who had also stopped in amazement. Ed and Officer Andy were joined by thousands of other witnesses who all claimed to have seen the same phenomena. Since the thousands of reports which came in throughout the 1980s, there have been countless more ever since, making the Hudson Valley one of the USA's hotspots for UFOs. The history of triangular-shaped UFOs. All kinds of shapes and sizes of UFOs have been reported, with the most popular being similar to the flying saucers we often see in Hollywood movies. Aside from this, there have also been thousands of triangular-shaped UFO sightings that have been reported over the years. Often described as dark in color, completely silent, and roughly the size of a football field, one of the most common triangular-shaped UFO sightings was in Belgium that lasted from November 1989 to April 1990. This particular UFO event has now become known as the Belgian Wave. Thousands of people claimed to have seen triangular-shaped UFOs at low altitude throughout the year. Among the first witnesses in November 1989 were 2 police officers on patrol in Eupen, Belgium, close to the German border. In March 1990, as the Belgian wave peaked, the Belgian Air Force sent 2 F-16 fighter jets to investigate a triangular object that had appeared on radar. The pilots recorded the craft's remarkable maneuverability and its capability to accelerate from 1,000 km per hour to 1,800 km per hour within a matter of seconds. While these craft are often attributed to being of alien origin, there's also other theories that are closer to home. Could these craft be secret government projects? David Mahler, UFO researcher, states he has reviewed more than 17,000 case files based on unidentified triangular crafts. Mahler says that given their hovering behavior, they might be engaged in surveillance of some nature, scanning or analyzing the topography. Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, claims there have been many instances in which these objects have been observed over bases operated by the Strategic Air Command. Many of these cases are dismissed simply as regular objects which have become distorted due to atmospheric conditions. Despite officials offering scientific explanations for the sightings, triangular UFOs are an international phenomenon, with sightings over London, Belgium, the US, and many more countries. Between 1983 and 1986, the Hudson Valley UFO sightings is one of the more prominent triangular UFO cases in history, as it was reported by so many people. Kevin Sorovia, a retired lieutenant from the Yorktown Police Department, was another of the witnesses who described a large silent craft around 100 yards wide. He said the craft hovered low before making a 45-degree turn and then suddenly speeding off. Looking for an explanation, he decided to call Stewart Air Force Base, located nearby in Newburgh, and asked whether any of its C-5 transport planes had been flying in the area that night. But none had. At the time, the C-5 was the world's largest and heaviest aircraft. Though triangular-shaped UFOs are common, one theory which offers a possible explanation for the phenomena is called the airship effect. This is a theory that suggests people who see unrelated lights in the sky can trick themselves into believing they are all part of the same object. So, if people see 3 lights in the night sky, they assume they must be of a triangular craft. Whatever theories people use to try and explain these sightings, one thing remains. It's hard to prove exactly what people saw, and it still remains a mystery. But what do you make of these UFO and USO mysteries? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.